What's up, everybody? Welcome to a very special Facebook Live. I am your host, Tom Bilyeu, and I am here with so-and-so as she introduced herself to me during the rehearsal. Oh, it was amazing. I wish you guys had been here, but my beloved, beloved wife. So we are doing, we're trying out a new type of content. We've had a lot of feedback about people wanting us to do more shows on relationships. So here is said show. But nonetheless...
You can also talk to that camera, by the way, now.
Now? Okay, I was given strict instructions in the beginning to speak to that camera, so I was trying to
It's a little
abide
glimpse into
by
our
my instructions.
dynamic.
Exactly. So here we are. So.
All right, so topic number one.
Topic number one.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So what was topic number one again? Oh, fixed mindset. A fixed mindset with people that you love. So this is something that I get asked about a lot. People have heard my answers. How do you approach somebody that you love? So you're not going to cut them out of your life, which is sort of my harsh advice 9 times out of 10. Like most of the time, the answer is if somebody's in your life that has a fixed mindset, then you're going to have to cut them out. Just surrounding yourself with that, it just, it doesn't work. So it's going to drag you down. And so whenever possible, you're going to migrate them out of your life. Sometimes, however, when that's somebody that you're very, very close to, it's just not an option. So what do you do?
Yeah, for me, it's actually a lot harder than it is for you. I don't know if that's a man-woman thing, but I find it obviously very hard to just cut people out of my life for that reason.
And what's that reason? Being a woman?
No. Just cutting them out of my life because they've got a fixed mindset. You know, because I so want to help them. Like, I have a hard time separating the way it should be and the way it is. So it's like, but if they would just pay attention and you send them examples of, you know, empowering people that they can follow, and it's just, if I can't get through to them, I start getting frustrated because I love them so much that I want them to succeed. And so I try to change their mindset. Go on.
Well, I'm just curious because life has told you time and time again that doesn't help, right? So if they're not open to changing and you're getting frustrated, which makes them even less likely to change, like why keep pursuing that avenue?
Yeah, and that's something I struggle with and I'm really, really working on. I think I've done a lot better over these last few years. Just, you know, something you always say to me is just accept people for who they are. And if you know that they've got a fixed mindset and you've maybe tried to show that, help them and it's just not possible, like detach yourself. So I've tried to stay in that mindset of this person is who they are. I love them for who they are, but if they can't help themselves, then, you know, me getting frustrated with them only makes them feel bad about themselves, and so that I don't like.
Also, a big part of the problem is when somebody starts feeling badly about themselves, they retreat within, they put up their defenses, they push back, they become less and less likely to listen to you.
Yeah.
And that's really where my whole notion of, and I'm grateful for it because I think meeting somebody with compassion and empathy is virtually always the right answer. The only person... God, I guess you as well. But for the most part, the only person that I don't always meet with compassion, and let's be nice and controversial here for a second, the only person that I don't always meet with compassion and empathy is myself. And the reason that I don't always meet myself with compassion and empathy is I trust myself to know when to push on something and when to let go, when to reward myself emotionally and when to punish myself. And that gets me where I'm ultimately trying to go. And because I know that I'll be able to do that in the right amounts to not get myself in emotional trouble where I'm just beating myself up, I'm feeling like a smaller version of myself, I find that little push works. But with other people, it does not. And everything, because virtually every piece of advice that I have for people in my life comes from me having done it the wrong way and learning through the school of hard knocks that it doesn't work. And that certainly is the truth with, you know, so I see how much it impacted my own life, and I want to help them. I want them to go through the same thing that I went through so that they can get to the other side, so that they can be much more empowered, that they can do things that they otherwise wouldn't have been able to do simply by making a switch in their mind. And once you know what to do, it seems it's not easy, but it's very, very simple. And so you want that for them, but the more you push, the more they resist. And so pushing, like, even though it means that you may have to play a very long, slow game. Like, it may take a year, it may take 10 years, it may take decades, but the only thing I know is that meeting them with compassion and empathy and then just living by example will be a lot faster than pushing.
Right. But you push me a lot, but I think that's because you know me well enough. You know that that's what I need to then...
Do you know why I do it?
Well, I was about to say, because you know me well enough to know that I actually need to have that hard knock to...
Sort of. I've done it because you've bought in. Like you and I have agreed that, and this like goes back, I mean, we made this agreement a long time ago, but you and I agreed that there was like a certain standard that we would live by. So it's like that letter I gave you to read to me if I was in a really bad mood, to like, hey, me, this is me. I have no interest other than to see you get what you want out of life. And so, you know, without any motive beyond something that you want for yourself, trust me, you don't want to stay angry, like let it go, laugh, you know, do all the things you need to do to get out of that. It was me being reminded of something that I had agreed to. And so because you've bought into a growth mindset, not only in actions, but on paper, all I have to do is remind you, hey, you've bought into this. And because of that, it's not me like pushing you, it's you remembering that, oh yes, this is something that I want for myself.
That's true. Yeah, because when you're in that moment and you are feeling very emotional and, you know, hey, it works. You know, you are feeling very emotional. It's hard to kind of see the unemotional side of it. It's like, yes, you don't have a fixed mindset and you can get over this. It's like, you remind me to not listen to my emotions to then dictate my actions. And I think that that's actually really powerful. And because I admire you so much, and you're the love of my life, the one person that I fight for every day. I don't want to disappoint you. So when you remind me of that, it then kind of gets me out of that emotional feeling and then starts my brain going, it's like, oh yeah, you can do this. You can't fail him. You have to push yourself. And so, yeah. But I notice when you do it as well, and sometimes it really frustrates me when you do it. Yeah. But in that moment, even when it frustrates me, I tell myself, he's doing it because he loves you. So.
It's that buy-in, yo.
Yeah. All right, let's have a look to see if we've got any questions. Let's check this out. Oh, I don't see who wrote this. Do you think we still can have a selfish time with 2 kids? I'm not sure who sent that. Jared.
So to whoever asked the question, do we think that you can have selfish time even when you have 2 kids? My answer is you have to make that time. So you're certainly not going to stumble upon it. Kids will take up every bit of energy that you have. But yes, selfish time to me is absolutely critical. And, you know, so it's like we think about vacations around here. Vacations have to be sacred. I was just saying this to Jared the other day. You know, when he goes away on vacation, it's like, so first of all, the players here are linchpin players. So when they go, their absence is felt. Like no one has like that, oh, well, it doesn't really matter what I do. So whenever somebody here leaves, it's like there's massive slack that has to be picked up. And so Jared and I were talking and I was like, dude, look, you've got to like, don't turn your phone on. Don't look, like don't engage, because vacations have to be sacred. So whatever, like however you have to distribute your workload before you go, do it. And make sure that everything is going to be covered so that you can have that downtime. So that's like being a parent, right? So it's not like, oh, no one's going to feel your absence, and so just take your time and don't worry about it. It's work with your spouse to make sure that they're willing to bear an extra burden so that you can have that selfish time, and that you need to reciprocate and bear that extra burden sometimes so they can have selfish time. And there's something about, and one of the key elements of selfish time is that it's like the one time I allow myself that nothing needs to be productive, right? Like I can just zone out, I can play video games, I could read fiction, like whatever it is that I want to do, even if I don't believe it's moving me forward, that I take that time and I just truly indulge on an emotional level. Right. I think that's super important. I think people have to carve that time out. Yeah, and you know, going back to what you said, like not feeling guilty about it, right? We don't 100%. Have kids, so obviously we can't speak on that front. Don't we have kids? Yeah. Aren't they screaming in the background right now?
So, you know, obviously you don't know how that feels, but I do know from friends who have kids that they feel guilty about saying their selfish time is without their children,
Right.
you know? And I think when you can own that and when you don't feel guilty about that, because it doesn't mean that you love your kids any less, right? It's like with me and you, when I say I want selfish time, sometimes the selfish time is without you. Doesn't mean that I don't.
Sometimes. I mean, but really, that's the idea of selfish time, right? Is that you
Sometimes,
get
though, 'cause
to be alone.
Yeah, but we both want to play video games, for instance. That selfish time that we both happen to want to do.
Yeah, but so I think what they're bringing up, because it's something that I brought up in the past on the show, is like really selfish time. So not where we're using it to really come together. So think about our Saturday nights. So we spend all day Saturday together. We're doing things together, but then say around 8 or 9 o'clock, which normally is bedtime, at that point, we do our own thing. And you watch TV shows that I don't want to watch, and I go either play more video games or I read or, you know, whatever. But something that I want to do by myself.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't think, though, that selfish time, like, at least for me, there's multiple things I want to do in the day that is selfish. And one is play video games with you.
That's not really selfish then, because that's like relationship,
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah, that's true. But even if you didn't want to play, I would still play.
Lies.
No.
When was the last time you played all by yourself?
When you were on a business trip.
No, didn't you play with my
Yes.
sister?
Yeah, but also the day before without her.
Did you really?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, you know
I'm like,
that.
I'm a little aroused right now. That is amazing. Wow.
But in fact, let's talk about video games, because that
All right.
really brought us together.
Yes.
So, yeah, I guess he used to play video games all the time by himself, and that was your selfish time. It's like, I want to go play video games.
And what she meant was I would play by myself all the time, just for the record.
As opposed to what?
Playing all the time. Oh, and by the way, I happen to be by myself.
Yeah. And yeah, what made you want to ask me to play, in fact? What was that?
A pleasure shared is a pleasure doubled. That was the honest. I was having so much fun doing it, and it was one of those things that the reason that I always use the example of playing video games is the example of something that if you can find a way to make money doing something that you think is stupid or other people have told you is stupid or whatever, like to really try to do that, because video games is one of those, in an alternate universe somewhere, I design houses for a living because I absolutely love that. And then in an alternate universe somewhere, I'm in the video game industry because I love it so much. Like it is the industry that maybe even more than movies has learned to manipulate brain chemistry in just this incredible drug-like way. So, you know, I would play and I would have so much fun. And it was like this microcosm of trying something, accomplishing, winning, and like playing on a team. And so I was left playing with strangers, people that I didn't know that I would find on a website or whatever. And I thought, man, this would be so much fun if I were playing with at first it was my sister. And so my sister and I started playing, and that was a lot of fun. And then I thought, wow, like, because first of all, it was a 3-man team. So it'd be my sister and I, and then somebody we didn't know. And we're so bad that we were always like just a little embarrassed to drag somebody down to our level. And I thought, wow, this would be so much fun if you played. And then I started thinking, I actually think you'd get better at this than I am because you process visual information so rapidly, which at least the game that we play is all about. How rapidly can you process the visual scene, where things are coming, check your radar, know where you're being attacked from, and know what to do. And I thought you'd be really good at that. And because getting good is part of the fun, I thought, wow, if I can get you into this world, not only will I get what I want, which is a team of people that I love that we can strive and accomplish together, but in the end, you would actually get really good. And then you would have that reward of, wow, I started out really bad and now I excel at something. And I thought that would be fun to share as well.
So you thought the act of getting better I'd really enjoy?
Yes. That's why video games work. Yeah. Video games are like, that's why they call it gamifying something, right? So yeah, every marketer's like holy grail is to gamify something. Right. Now that word simply comes from the video game industry and the way that they can turn things into a game. So leveling up your character, that, you know, like in Destiny, Xur only shows up 2 days a week. They could have him show up every day, but they don't do it because they want you to strive to gain these coins, and then you can spend the coins, and it's all fake. But it so ties into that human desire for mastery, to get better, to earn something, to spend something, to buy things that you want, to covet things, to get those things that you covet. I mean, It's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you talking about all of that, and you know, you would go off and game, and then we'd get back together, and you'd be like, "Baby, I got to this light level, and I got this weapon, and you know, I was playing the Crucible, and blah." And I'm like, "Oh, great, babe!" Like, because I had no idea what you were talking about. And then when you first asked me, it's kind of you would say like, just tell me what you want. Don't expect me to want to do it. Like, don't expect me to want to do the dishes. Just tell me you want me to do the dishes, and I'll do it.
Right.
Because it's the feeling you want to get from that person. And so when you asked me, I was like, I don't really want to play video games. Like, it's not my thing. I used to play a lot of video games as a kid, but it's not really my thing anymore. But because you had asked me, I thought, you know what? Like, this is meaningful to him for me to show that I'm willing to try it. Just try it. And you even said, like, give me like an hour of your time. I thought, okay, no worries. Like, this is a way of me showing that I really care. And I think that's really important in relationships. Like, even if it's something you don't want to do, just knowing that I'm going to make that person happy by doing it, like, bring enthusiasm to the table versus like, fine, I'll play. And then you're sitting down and you're playing and, you know, like, oh, this is rubbish anyway. Like, the whole point is to make that person feel good. So if you're going to do it, go in there and have fun. So that was the first step. Like, all right, bless you. You were very honest. You were very upfront of what you want. I'll sit down and I'll give it a shot. And then after that first hour, you just looked at me and you're like, thank you so much. Like, you don't understand how meaningful that was to me. And the fact that you told me how it made you feel made me want to do it again. So it's not, I didn't actually want to play video games. I just wanted you to feel that thing that you'd felt. Like, you've given up your time for me. Thank you. You've made me feel special. So that was then, well, bless you. Like, I really want you to feel like that again. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, next week, we'll play another hour. And then again, you're like, you know, you were so good. Thank you so much. Like, I had so much fun. I know you're not great right now, but, and so it was that I started out wanting to make you happy and like, here's something that I can actually do that is going to be meaningful to you. And then it transitioned into like, this actually is team building. And me and you would be very, you know, work on our tactics and our strategy. And then obviously with your sister, like, it was an amazing way for me to bond with her. And so finding those things that one person likes, that you're open and willing to try, and then go in it full force. Like, don't just give it 50%, right? Do it 100% because you know you're making that person happy. And once you open your mind to that, there actually is opportunities to enjoy it. So me and your sister now, even when you're gone, like, we game it up. We kill fools. Because it's just fun, it's team building, it really is bonding. Like, when you win together. And really that team building is what we do here at Impact Theory as well, so.
Truth.
All right, let's get to some questions. Okay, I've got a question, oh, great question, from Guadalupe Barrels, sorry if I butchered your name. What if you and your partner are in two different phases in life, such as one of you has clear goals and intentions and the other is still uncertain about what to do? How can you help them figure out their path without making them feel like they are you are holding their hand?
Yeah, that's that really is an amazingly good question. So, it goes like this. First of all, the most important thing in any relationship is selection. And I think a lot of times what's hiding behind this question is that people have not chosen wisely. And they're not on, like, it's okay to be at different phases in your life. But being like not bought in on core beliefs is where people get into trouble. So for instance, if you weren't bought into a growth mindset, this would be a nightmare. And I honestly don't know that it would work. And I think having one fixed mindset and one growth mindset is a recipe for disaster. Yeah, it is. And I could derail, like, I could do a whole episode on why that's just never going to work. But if you have two people that really are in a growth mindset and you're meeting that person with empathy and compassion, then it becomes tactical, right? So what are the tactics to help somebody find what they really want to do? And it really is twofold. So one, it's got to be something that's monetizable. And I think that people often lose that in like, well, this is what I want to work. Okay, I get that. You want that to be something that works. That's where you want to spend your time. But if you can't find a path to monetization, it's never going to work. And then the other is like, how do I find the thing that I'm passionate about? And that is a really formulaic thing. That's the great news. So all the people that write in saying, you know, how do I find that thing that I'm passionate about? It really is about identifying overlapping areas of interest So what are those things that you're interested in? Where do things converge? So I'll just use, God, I don't want to always use the crutch of video games. So and I'll talk about Quest. So growing up as a kid, I never would have said, hey, Quest is that thing that I'm deeply passionate about, meaning food, nutrition, but it was a huge area of interest for me. And because I wanted to escape the fate that so many people in my family had succumbed to, growing up in a family that was morbidly obese. And so that was already on my radar. I had to learn about nutrition for my own sake. I had to get disciplined and show up in the gym every day for my own sake. And that was stuff I'd been doing for years and years and years before we got into Quest. Same with you, right? So it was just a huge, huge part of our life. And then you have the overlapping area of interest where I really, really like to help people. And I'm wired for that. I'm wired. I find real joy in seeing other people win. And so you put that overlapping. And then a third area of interest, which was I love media. Media is my first love. It is the thing that just like really has captured my attention. And I could see what was about to happen in social media. And this is, when we first started conceiving of the company, it was 2009. Nobody understood how social media was going to be beneficial for companies. But I could see that it really was about building relationship through content. And that was just a whole new world. And so it was letting me bring, like Quest was those three things. And in the center of that was something I could monetize. So you had three areas of overlapping interest where I had already proven to myself that I wanted to gain mastery in it, right? I was fascinated by nutrition. I was fascinated by human metabolism. I was fascinated by the concept of wellness, body and mind. I really wanted to help my family. And I could see, whoa, at the center of this, what I understand about business, there's something really powerful here. It's a consumable. So if you get people excited about your product, they literally eat it and they have to come back for more. So that was like a fantasy come true. And there's similar things to that with media where for whatever reason, the way the human psyche works, like once you've consumed that TV episode, you don't just want to watch it again. You want the next one and the next one, or a movie. You want the next one and the next one. And so there's a hyper transience to it all. So I know that it's monetizable in that way. So it's literally getting them to buy in on a growth mindset so that they actively, go ahead.
But what if you meet someone, because I'm trying to really get down to the nitty gritty of what they're asking. So you're in two different phases of their life. So what happens when we first met, I wouldn't say that we both had growth mindsets.
Neither of us did.
Right. So what if one of you, as you grow, you start opening your mindset, but the other person doesn't? Mm-hmm. Like, what do you do then? Because it's not, you've fallen in love. You're in it. You're married. I don't know if they're married or
Let's assume worst case, married, kids, the whole nine,
right.
Debt.
Right.
Just
now,
bad.
As a partner, to me, you want to help that person.
Yep.
Right. And I know we had the conversation earlier.
Indeed, we did.
The thing is that I wouldn't just give up on you. Mm-hmm. Right. I wouldn't, you're so dying to say something right now, but I wouldn't give up on you. As my husband, who I love dearly, if I really believed you had that potential to have, like, if I didn't think you had the potential, then I think that would be a different matter. Like, if you just close...
And assume I don't.
That you don't have that mindset.
I'm a fixed mindset. And the more you try to help me, the more I resist, the more frustrated you get, the more I double down on my position. And I tell you to stop trying to act like my mother, just love me for who I am.
Yeah. And how long has it been that I've been trying for?
3 years.
And
it's just getting worse.
Yeah, I think I would have to God, I don't want to
say it.
Yeah, we'd have to separate.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it is not a tenable situation for somebody like, and here's the really bad news. The part of the reason that I think you have emotions is you have to hit like a blow up point where you really feel badly. And there is an emotion so intense that you so don't ever want to go through again that you have a breakthrough. And how to put people in that situation, I don't know. And so here's the really bad news. If those two people split up, one of two things will happen. They will either become so angry and so disenfranchised with that relationship that the only thing left is a growth mindset. The only thing left is to look inward and ask, how is this my fault? And they will become a better person on the other side. Or they'll become embittered forever and go down this one-way dark path of it wasn't my fault, this person was an asshole, and they're the reason that it all blew up. I'm not to blame. If they had been a better person, this all would have worked out.
And the one thing we've discussed a lot about just in, we've been married almost 15 years now. And the one thing we've spoken about is like, we're not going to stay married because we're married.
You're not watching the like live comments, are you?
No.
I'm so curious to know.
Well, the reason why is because I wanted to be engaged in the conversation, and so I asked Jared just to like send me the questions.
All right, we'll keep going. Don't let me pull you
I
off.
went. I know. I literally would. I'd love to keep reading, but I can't.
No, I know.
So I can only do one. Sorry, guys. But a big thing would be like we've discussed it. We won't stay married if we're unhappy. And that doesn't mean that we don't try every single thing in our power to fix our relationship. Or in fact, our first point is we need to grow together on a daily basis, be in communication with each other, because as you grow, right, I hate it when people are like, you're not the person I married. You bloody hope not. They're not the person you married, right? Because that means you haven't grown at all. Right. So as your lives develop and you grow, one thing we make sure is that we're always in communication so that we can really grow together on that same path. I think that's a massive key. If for whatever reason you're doing that and for whatever reason you still find yourselves, the Wookiee mom wants to join us.
Hey, baby girl. Don't jump up.
And then if you find that even with all that communication, you're butting heads or you're not on that same path, we'll work very hard to get back on track. But then we've said, if for whatever reason we can't do that, we'll never stay in a marriage that we're unhappy with. Because, you hear lots of stories about people that stay in marriages for multiple reasons, financial, kids, whatever. And just our experiences with people in our lives who have been divorced, it's like, if you're not happy, that exudes, right? It just like everyone around you sees it. You're an unhappy person. And so we just said we'd never do that to each other. Like, I don't want you to be unhappy. So if we're in a relationship and you're not happy within, with our dynamic, then please tell me and we'll split up, because I don't want you to be unhappy and I don't want to be unhappy. So yeah, we have those real honest conversations.
Yeah, but I think it's also important to note that commitment to us is very important, and that working on whatever issue that you have, talking through it, really being open to being wrong, like looking for the right answer, hearing that description in somebody who doesn't know sort of all the framework that we've built around that, might hear that there's like a tenuousness to our relationship. Hey, are you unhappy? Because we can always split up.
The funny thing is we don't even joke about
that.
divorce.
No, like, that's important. Yeah. I have never once made a joke about divorce.
No, I know.
Ever.
And I guess...
That's crazy. You can't even say that shit out loud.
Yeah, and I didn't mean for it to come across like that, and thank you for, bringing that up. It's just, when people are in marriages for 5, 10, 15 years and they're miserable and they're profoundly unhappy, it's just not a life to live, right? It's not the way we want to live our lives. And so we work so hard in having those really uncomfortable conversations, for sure.
Period. Mic drop. No, I agree. And, I think that a relationship is the most beautiful effort you're ever going to put in, right? So it is a lot of effort. You're going to work your ass off for it. But it is so worth it and so powerful and so amazing. And it's kind of like, and it may be like, working on a relationship for me is what I think like the gym is for you. Every bit of exertion that I put in, every time that I'm, we really have some breakthrough, some amazing conversation where it's like, oh my God, that's what you've been trying to communicate all this time. Like I finally see it, I feel it, I internalize it. And it may have taken a lot of effort to get to that point, but those moments are so incredible to me and feel like these revelations of what it means to be a human. And my thing is, there's nothing more erotic and there's nothing more grounding and fulfilling than shared experience. And so that to me, like there's only two things that really scare me to my core, and that's brain damage, because there ain't no coming back, and then losing you. Because even though like, sure, I could start over, but there's no substitute for that shared experience. And at this point, we've got such a rich history of ups and downs, and the way that downtimes change over time, and it becomes like this really, it wasn't fun to go through, but it becomes this forge that you have, where it's like, now being on the other side, like I would never trade the hardest times, right? I wouldn't want to trade the greatest times either, but the hardest times, like those are the ones where I'm like, man, we did that together. We came through the other side together. And I've gotten to see what you're like when you're at your lowest. I've gotten to see what you're like with me when I'm at my lowest. And there's no substitute for that, man. Mm-hmm. And so we definitely don't think like, oh, you know, c'est la vie, easy come, easy go. It's like there's really a lot of, and it's more like we have more to protect with each passing day because you've got all that shared history. And so we put just an amazing amount of effort into it, talking through things, processing, that kind of stuff. But to bring it all back around to the initial question, it's meeting that person there with compassion and empathy, but walking through the tactics. Like there is a path to the other side. And so then it becomes a question of if they're willing to walk that path, like if you were on that path and maybe you just didn't like, it wasn't a fast path for you, I would walk that forever. If I felt like sincerely you were making every effort to get better, and hey, maybe it wasn't as fast as either of us would like, but like you're getting better all the time, I have no finish line. I have no point at which, hey, you know, I've been expecting you to get faster now for 10 years and you haven't, and so peace out. But if you weren't making the effort to walk the path, now I've got a problem.
So it's the effort for you.
Yeah, for sure. It's the sincere effort. Like in contracts a lot, you'll see the terms in good faith. Right? Are you negotiating in good faith, or are you just jerking me around? If you were in good faith trying to get better, like I'm in forever. But if you're not, like if you think I'm crazy or you think it's stupid or a waste of time, now we've got a problem. And that's the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset. And you know, if people just aren't willing to walk the path.
Yeah. Truth. All right, so, we should talk about the Facebook community launch, the group launch.
Indeed, we should, indeed. And not another word can be uttered without acknowledging Cindy.
Yes,
for
Cindy.
Being the one to put that, round of applause, please. For being the one to put that together. It's really been incredible just to watch her process through that, think through, and of course, she brought a squeaky toy in. I like to think she's clapping for Cindy right now with her squeaky toy since her little paws don't make good noise. But Cindy did an amazing job putting this community together and really is going to be the ongoing energy behind it. And when you guys are engaging with the community, know that Cindy is there, blood, sweat, and tears all the way in. She knows, like we all know about the community, but nobody is like in it the way that Cindy's in it. So this is really cool, really excited. It's on Facebook. Go now. Went live today, right?
It's called the Impact Theory League.
Yes, the Impact Theory League. Indeed
so
it is.
Go find it. Join
on
today.
Facebook.
Yeah, on Facebook.
Yeah, and that's going to be the place for the most diehard people. And when people are always saying like, hey, how do you meet like-minded people? My answer actually is Facebook groups. So we have been working, and by we I mean Cindy, essentially by herself, has been working very hard to put this community together. So to bring people together, like-minded people to support each other, help each other, see what each other are working on, and obviously engage with the 7 of us. So dive in. This is for the elite out there, the elite impactivists.
Oh, there's a good question here.
Let's hear it.
So it just caught my eye. So
Nice.
It's from Romantic Beast.
Nice.
Hey, Romantic Beast.
Great name.
What are your thoughts on cheating? Would you give your partner a second chance?
Why don't you take it?
I'll answer that first.
Yeah.
Well, the answer is no, I would not give them a second chance. And the reason being is we communicate so much, I actually don't wish people could hear, but we are so brutally honest about what we want, what we're looking for, what is important to us. And for me, the thing that I said right from the beginning, from day one, from our first day, is if you ever cheat on me or hit me, I'm out. Like, done. Fine. There's a harsh line.
Bright lines.
Bright line. Thank you. It's a bright line for me. So if you cheat on me and you hit me, I'm done. And so A, I made that very clear from day one. And then B, when you think about cheating, there's a reason why that other person, whether it was the husband or the wife, has gone out, or the boyfriend or the girlfriend has gone out to do that act. So if you have gone and cheated on me, it's not about the cheating itself. It's about what caused you to do that. So A, is there something missing sexually? that's something that we should have spoken about before you go out and just do it. Like, again, going back to communication. If it was because there's an emotional need, you don't feel like I'm attentive enough to you, or vice versa, you weren't attentive enough to me, then again, why didn't we communicate that? How did it get to that extreme where you went and acted on it and you didn't, we didn't discuss it? And so that breakdown in our communication is the biggest thing that then led you to do it. So now I sit there and say, well, the one thing that we pride ourselves on and that we talk about a lot is we must communicate. So even if it's about, let's say, sex, hey, babe, I need more sex. Like, you haven't said that. And so for you to go and act on it, that's a problem. And there's there's something broken in our relationship that you didn't say that to me. And then, yeah, because that is something that is so important to me, that I have said from day one, that if you go and do it, the loss of respect is, right, it's lost. And then the last thing I will say is, it's so important that we, oh God, I've lost oh, it was a good one as well.
You want me to buy you time?
Yeah, please. That was a good one.
All right, so picking up where you left off, to me, it's all about trust. And
trust.
So to me, like, I believe relationships are sacred. I believe that there's literally the holy in a relationship, and that there's a level of depth and beauty to human connection that it just isn't paralleled anywhere else. But I don't believe that that they need to be forever if they're not functional. And so there's certain things that I look for in a relationship. And if I wasn't getting those things, to me, there is no purpose in having that relationship. And one of those is to feel like you're somebody's number one. And I think that's probably the most intoxicating thing about a relationship. That's why marriage has lasted. And I won't even ask people to believe that that's the natural state of things. If you look, God, if we can get really weird for a minute, if you look at the shape of just in case there are people with kids, if you look at the shape of male genitalia, the way that it has evolved does not lead one to believe that we're the most monogamous species. We're certainly not the least either, but we're not the most. And so I don't even need that to like be true, that, oh, well, we're built for monogamy. Whether we're built for monogamy or not, to me, is completely irrelevant. If you have a thing in the relationship that establishes trust, like let's say, oh, you can sleep with whoever you want, I don't care, but don't ever drink orange juice, right? If that were our thing and then you drink the orange juice, then I know there's no trust in this relationship. And that is the other thing to me. So being somebody's number one, like that's absolutely critical. I want to be somebody's number one. And then the other is I need to know that I can trust them, because the emotional attack that one feels when they're destabilized by not knowing if they can trust the other person is so uniquely horrible, and it diminishes your sense of self. And hopefully you guys understand this by now about me. Anything that diminishes my sense of self, that makes me feel less than who I am, like I don't go for that. And so if somebody were treating me without respect in a way that I couldn't trust them, that's going to diminish me. I'm going to be paranoid. I'm going to feel small, and I don't go in on that. So to me, whatever you've established as your line of trust. So for us, it's physical and we've never stated emotional abuse, but I will say that it goes without saying. Sure. So abuse, and then being, infidelity. So those are the things that we've established as lines of trust. And, if those are broken, then.
And we both said to each other, we're both going in 100%. So some people in the past, especially like as Quest was really, kind of like just skyrocketing, people started hearing about Quest. There was a lot of fitness females that would, kind of hover around you, and, you see it, right? They flirt, they're sweet. And it never bothered me. And people used to say to me like, oh, she's hitting on your husband, or, things like that. Whatever, like it didn't bother me, because the truth was I trusted you. Right. So even if the prettiest, most attractive woman came up to you and was like, hey, you want to go to my room? It doesn't matter, right? That I don't feel insecure about that, because I trust you 100%. 100%. And so no matter what situation you would be put in, I know that you would turn them down. And I believe that with the core being of, of who I am. And I will do that until either you end up cheating on me or I die, right? Because having a relationship where I fear you're going to do that isn't a way to live. And so I have to know for myself, I trust you 100%. It doesn't matter what situation you're going to be put in. There's no jealousy or anxiety or fear there. But that's because you haven't done it. So the second, if you cheated on me, that goes away. So...
Totally. And yeah, I just, I mean, that's just us. Like, and no moral judgment on people that feel differently. Like, I respect that. I think everybody just has to draw their own line and say, this is what's important to me. This is what I'm willing to put up with. And
that's the thing. We had that discussion from the get-go and we were very honest with each other. All right. I think, we're going to have to wrap up. Got one more question.
No way.
Yeah.
Are you serious? It's already been an hour?
Yeah. 50 minutes.
What is happening? Dude, you are a time vortex for me. So
I mean, we've done buffets where we've sat there and spoken for like 9 hours.
9 hours.
And when I said we don't actually eat that much, it's just kind of an excuse.
Well, we eat.
Yes.
But we don't gorge ourselves. Right. But 9 hours at a buffet was legit. Yeah.
Yeah, 9 hours. But I mean, goes to show we like talking to each other.
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy. I literally can't believe I would have bet 25 minutes.
No, 50 minutes, baby.
Wow.
Okay, so we'll do a last question then.
All right, last question.
So this is from Rob Howes from Howes Life Network.
Indeed. We know Rob. What's up, Rob? How we doing, homie?
How do you stay balanced? Working together, living together, eating together, everything together. LOL.
You want me to go or you want to go?
I guess I'll go and then you can
break it down.
So we don't seek balance. I love the Lisa Nichols quote. We don't seek balance, we seek harmony.
Nice.
I love that.
Shout out to Lisa Nichols.
Yeah, Lisa Nichols is awesome. And we've done it over time. So, when we first met and we were boyfriend and girlfriend, you had hired me, you were still my boss. So really even in dating, our dynamic was kind of very clear from, how our working relationship goes. And then it kind of comes back down to communication again. I hate to keep using it, but it's true. It's, you see things in a very different way than I do when it comes to work and personal. I like to separate. Like, I need you as my husband right now. And so this is what I need as a husband. I need you to say, baby, it's going to be okay. Your arm around me. I don't need you. I don't want you to be the business partner right now where you're like, come on, you can do it. Like, you can't let this hold you back. And so I've now become very vocal in saying to you, like, I need this part of you right now because I'm emotional or something like that. And again, communicating with you because your instinct is to motivate, right? Even if I'm feeling like emotionally raw, you'd be like, nope, you can do it. Don't let this stop you. But that's how you work. And so communicating with each other and knowing this is what I need, so I need to tell you because you're not a mind reader. And that's one thing I will say, just keep repeating in as many episodes as we do of this, is the other person isn't a mind reader, right? They don't know what you're feeling. They don't know what you need. And you can guess, but how many times are you actually going to get it right? And why wait for the other person to guess? Like, just be honest and be sincere. And so, that's how I handle it. I say, this is what I need from my husband right now. So that's where we find the work-personal balance. And then eating, I'm very particular, so I like to sit down.
So true.
I like to sit down. I like to have my husband's attention. I like to be at a table.
And?
The food needs to be nice and hot.
And? It's so funny that
there needs to be music on.
There's one thing, even Wookiee knows, there's one thing that is so important to you that took me years to realize because it is so foreign to me and just it is something that I accept about you without actually understanding it. And that's so funny because we have talked about this more times than you can imagine. And as soon as I say the words, she's going to be like, oh yeah, of course. We have to chew at the same time.
The funny thing is, we won't get derailed on this because I think it's a really important answer that really want to hear. But when you sit down to eat, you eat together. Like, it doesn't mean you sit down and keep the other person company.
Yeah.
So,
to
as you
they
can
are
see, we
very
actually
different.
disagree on this subject. But he knows it's important to me, even though you think it's ridiculous, that we are actually chewing together.
Yes.
So again, just vocalizing that to each other. Like, babe, it's important to me that we're not on the sofa. Why? I don't know. It feels more casual. It doesn't feel like I've got your attention. So I really want to sit at the table. You know, or you say, look, I've got a lot of work to do. I don't have time to eat dinner with you. And so again, you're just very vocal about it. Like, I don't have time. You know, or if it was a day that was important to me, we try and figure it out. Like, I can't eat 3 meals a day with you. So which one do you want to do? Breakfast, lunch, or dinner? And then I'll go, oh, okay, I really want to eat dinner with you. Like, all right, cool. So I'm going to block out that time and then figure it out. But yeah, just really kind of communicating.
All right, so I'm going to try and rock through some tactics. That was a wonderfully emotional sort of answer, and now I want to pick up where that left off and just be hyper tactical. So like she said, we're not really focused on balance, so our life is a total mishmash of all the different things that we do. We try to, what are the actual tactics that we use? Always vocalize your motivations, even when they're petty. So that's how we got to chewing at the same time. Like, because I literally couldn't understand what was happening. Because like eating, like occupying the same space to me is the same as eating together. But realizing that actually chewing at the same time is how you define it.
Because I'd be eating and you'd be like in the kitchen or vice versa. And you'd be like, but I'm right here.
Or even just sitting with you. And let's say that if my food is ready first, then I would just sit at the table and eat while you finish the last few bits of your preparation, not thinking like that was a problem, because I'm thinking in my head, I've got more stuff to do, whatever, so I'm just trying to be efficient. When you're, I'm going to have to sit down and write these tactics down, because I have this feeling there's all these things we do and I'm not able to articulate them right now. How do we find balance? Yes.
I think, like you said, voicing the motivation and not worrying if...
yeah, give me some other like tactics that we use.
I mean, oh God, brutal honesty. I keep coming back to that.
Yeah, I just don't want to. I don't want to float in the nebulous.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Man, I am failing everybody right now, and this is the final question. I'm really gonna have to stop.
Well,
and
don't
think
give
about.
somebody the gift that you want. Find out what they actually want.
Yeah, so this is our Armageddon example.
It is.
If you like the movie Armageddon, don't give it to your partner for Christmas.
That wasn't us, though.
No, that wasn't us, in fairness. But we do.
You know who you are.
Yes. We do use that example a lot.
Where the guy gave the girl Armageddon for her birthday.
Because it's a gift he would want to receive. So anyway, talk about your motivations. You have to be able to externalize those. Make sure that you're carving out time for the two of you. Make sure that you know what's important to the other person so that you can deliver on that. And these are all things, oh, here we go. Define terms. You have to define terms. So that's something that we've done very, very effectively. Because you may be like, we would find this. I would say, hey, that's really important to me. And maybe that didn't carry like a lot of weight with you because that's not the word that you would use. So we finally sat down and said, all right, if I say that something is important, then you need to drop everything you're doing and pay attention. We used to do that with a phone call when we weren't working in the same space. If you call me twice, I can ignore it. But if you call me a third time, even if I'm in a meeting with the president, I'm going to stop what I'm doing and I'm going to take that.
And I only ever called you 3 times once.
Once, which is a whole nother amazing story.
That's not taking advantage of those rules, right? Because even the word important,
and that's another one.
We use it maybe 3 times a year.
Gotta be
because
sparing.
you both put that weight on that word. But then if someone just uses it like every week, then now you've removed the importance of the word important.
Yeah, literally. And so not being abusive of your rules is super, super critical. Yeah, I should, like I did with the 25 bullet points, I should go through and write down all of our relationship
comment
strategies.
below, guys, if you want to see something like that.
Yeah, that would be interesting. It would also just be nice to make those wonderfully concrete.
And some people in relationships almost don't want to do those concrete tactics because it almost feels like they're removing the romance from it. But if anything, I think that's heightened our romance because there's no emotional... resentment, you're not holding on to anything. Like we try to really like flow on that same page.
People die by vagaries. So once you get really specific, once you know the tactics, it's like people want love to, I wrote an article about this. We should link to it. People want things like love and anything that's beautiful in their life to be effortless. It just doesn't work like that. And so, you know, the reading Joseph Campbell's The Power of Myth and realizing the importance of ritual, realizing that ritual needs to be imbued with like a lot of weight. Those are like things like that to transition into a relationship that it's not a Facebook status update. Like it's got to be way deeper than that. And, you know, really doing things to demarcate in your own mind the difference between with somebody, without somebody, like what those mean. Like creating that emotional space, the intensity, all of that, like it needs to be regimented. It needs to be very clear, very bright lines. That's another thing in relationship, bright lines. You know, when do you spend time together? When do you not spend time together? When you've got work to do, like literally talking about those things. So Lisa knows about me that she could ask me to give up anything and I would give it up in a heartbeat except my ambition. It's the one thing that's off limits because it would stop me from being me. And so I wouldn't be able to function in a relationship without that. And that's something that we talked about. So just really defining all of those things, like making sure that the playbook of a relationship is not guessing, set somebody up for success, not failure. So for instance, if there's something that I want for my birthday, I need to tell you exactly what that is. So if I want to go out for dinner, if I want to go away for the weekend, if I want you to cook for me, whatever, like I need to just tell you instead of expecting you to guess. Things like that go a long way. It's what we call giving the keys to the kingdom, which is tell somebody exactly how to cheer you up if you're in a bad mood, what you want for your birthday, what words mean.
What
it's
makes
like,
you feel loved, feel considered.
Very wise, my dear. Very well said. Yeah. Cool.
And oh, one more thing.
Yeah, please.
And it's going to be quick, but just, yeah, I remember someone said to me once, like, love shouldn't be hard work. Like, it should be like innate in you. It's like, are you crazy? Like, for me, my relationship with you is the most important thing in my life, in my world. And so why wouldn't I put most of my energy into that?
Yeah, to leave it to happenstance just doesn't make sense.
But like, if you wanted to be successful, you'd have to work hard of it at your job or your career or whatever. So it's like to not think of relationships like that.
Yep.
It's crazy to me.
I could not agree more.
All right.
Excellent. All right, guys, thank you so much. If you haven't already shared this, please share it for your chance to win either a 10-minute Skype call with me or an Impact Theory t-shirt. And if you don't already know, the Impact Theory store is live thanks to Agent Smith. We have sold an amazing amount of those t-shirts. Everybody here is super, super excited. And we will one day soon have a lot more stuff in that store. But go there if you want to signal to the world that you are just weird enough to be an impactivist, to have a growth mindset, to be totally focused on getting the most out of your life. That is what that Impact Theory t-shirt is meant to represent. So go get one today.
And check out also the new group that we just launched, the Impact Theory League, on Facebook. So go check that out too.
Yes. And as always, guys, thank you so much for joining us. This is a weekly show. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. And we're making sure that we post when we're going live on stuff ahead of time so that people can really plan ahead. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, my friends, be legendary. Take care. Peace.
Bye.